Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It is Tuesday, August the 17th. The year's 2021. Let's talk trading. Making adjustments. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. Now, making adjustments. You've probably heard me say repeatedly for the past 4 weeks or so how the range of the pound dollar has just been anemic. So, you need to learn how to make adjustments, because if you see something happening but you keep doing what you were doing but you're not making adjustments, you're not really trading, you're not really paying attention. So what adjustments do we talk about? What adjustments do we make? Well, if we're looking at, let's see, for example, here, past couple of hours we had some good range, 23, 28. That's what we used to see a lot, but before then it was only 11. So what that might mean is you look and see how many pips are in the range, and if you're in a trade, you go ahead and take your pips. So for example, right here, when price opened between 90 and 80, and then it went above 90 to what, 94, you take 2-3 pips and be happy. And then on the other side, when it actually came down to 80, it had already traveled, what, 13, 14 pips? If you're going to take that short, you have to be ready to bail, because anything could happen, of course. But based on what's been happening, based on statistics, that these ranges have been very muted for, except for you have a couple of big hours. So that's one of the things I'm talking about when I say making adjustments. I know some people, rather than trade the wall mall, they just trade the hourly buy zone, the hourly open plus or minus 2, 3, or 4 pips, maybe 5 pips, and then they take it that way. But, that's up to the trader. But that just shows how you have to configure your trading to market conditions. Because as I mentioned, these hourly ranges have been really muted. And so if you get in a trade and you think you're going to get 7, 10 pips, not necessarily. And you can even look on the daily ranges. You can see here how things are muted. Or looking at the hourlies once again. And this is just showing imbalance zones. And so for the rat, normally, for the daily, let's see, if we switch this over to the daily, we've got high minus low, that's the range. So today we've got a pretty good range, 94 pips. So, but let's just take a quick look at something. Let's look at close minus low, because we're in the green rat zone right now. So you can see here, you've got yesterday was only 14 off the bottom. Day before was 79. That's a green candle. Then 3, then 58. So it seems like these days where you have bear candles, it's not looking like there's much retracement off of the bottom. See, right now there's only 5 pip retracement. So that's how you have to, you see something happen, you check your statistics, and then you make your adjustments accordingly. So if we switch back here, you see, so now I might not be thinking that price is going to wind up here for the day. It might stay somewhere down in this area. And you can see here, open minus ATR, 100% ATR. So it's definitely moved away from the open. So, and then trading just a higher low, lower high. Once again, might just be looking to get a pip or two on these trades unless one really launches. So, for example, if you take a trade and it rockets up, say 2 or 3 pips, and then it stalls, you might say, okay, let's see what happens next. But, if it only inches up a pip and then it stops, you might go, this thing could turn against me, so maybe I should just get out. I mean, it could always turn against you, but it just depends on how much breathing room you like to have. And looking here at the wick zones, you can see price was just in and out, back in and out of the yesterday's lower wick zone. On the weekly, we've already taken out the pivot. Monthly, we've taken out the pivot. But the daily, we missed the pivot. So we've got a missed pivot so far. And we had one last month and one in June. You can see we exceeded S3 on the day, almost S4, weekly S2. Very interesting. We called for a breakout, and that's what happened. Once again, looking at the rat zone. Just not so ready to rush in for price to reverse. Once again, we missed that pivot. Very interesting. We had a couple New Zealand pairs over 300 pips. I'm not sure what's happening with New Zealand. But definitely something's going on. Pound's only 94, but it did break out a previous day's low. And I think I had mentioned about this 3860 level, about that being a short area to look to go short. Well, it paid off. Now we're in the inside bar area from 17 days ago. So 37.79 long, 37.19 short. Well, I don't know if anybody out there still doing inside bars. I haven't heard from anybody recently doing the inside bar trades. For the year, 108 pips above the yearly open. You can see the multimeter is all red. And we broke out of the opening range for the week, heading to the opening range for the year. And we still have 3 gaps that haven't filled. and just once again we broke out of the previous week's low. Oh, I know, there was a trader that was having a problem with something. Let's see. I think I could use this chart to show them. They were trying to use HL5 in the timelines. So show timelines true. And the default set to the timelines at 1400 hour. They said it wasn't showing on their chart. Let's see, I think I've got to turn something else on. Because I know I posted a chart showing how it works. That's not going to work well. So right here, you can see the 1400 high and low. So I'm not sure what you were doing in your setup so that it didn't work. But let me put this back the way it was. But that's how it works. And then Mighty One said something about correcting something about statistics. I'm not really sure what you wanted me to correct, Mighty One. I guess you were trying to say Walmall's statement was inaccurate. And I'm not really sure. I know you gave you posted an example about if you have a basket of apples and oranges, and if you've got 80 apples and 20 oranges, you know, the next piece of fruit, what's the chance? Is it going to be an apple or an orange? It dep- I mean, are you taking from the basket, or are you just saying that, you know, then you've been collecting fruit for 100 times and that's what came out? So I'm not really sure where you were going with that. But you know, back to today's main point, you know, you've got to make these adjustments. So as I stated before, knowing that price really isn't crawling off the bottom, not so fast to jump in these trades off of the lower highs. And even if I get a pip or so, I'm out, because as you can see in the past, you know, few minutes, price moved up and then it's moved down again. So that's just making those adjustments. So anyway, fellow traders, I hope that helps. And just remember, when you sit down at your trading platform, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is TheRumpledOne, over and out.